in her nomination papers to be a member of the Central Committee in the Patriotic Front. The PF will be going for a convention on starting Saturday up to Sunday, and a lot of people have applied so far to be considered or to be voted for by delegates at the elective general conference to be held on Saturday and Sunday. The youths don't want to be left out this time around, and they have positioned themselves, and there are others that have applied to be members of the highest decision-making organ in the Patriotic Front. This is the furnace. We want to talk about issues of tribalism. One of the members in the ruling Patriotic Front, who is also a youth, has been labeled as a tribalist, and also issues of governance as well as youth's participation in national matters vis-a-vis starting from the party level. My name is Kelvin Tabula Chifokolo. My guest on the program is an aspiring candidate for Lumezi constituency, a constituency that is in the eastern part or eastern province of Zambia. He goes by the name of Munir Zulu. Munir Zulu, good evening and welcome to the fitness.
Good evening, Calvin, and good evening, viewers.
Thank you so much. Those of you that are joining us on a Muvi TV decoder, yours is channel 1. And those of you that are watching us on a Top Star decoder, yours is channel 104. And this program is also live on social media, Facebook. You just type Ask Muvi, and then you'll be able to follow through the program. You'll be able also to comment on the comment section, and we'll be able to read your questions or your comments that you are dropping us. Munir Zulu, the Patriotic Front seemed to be ready. Yesterday, His Excellency President Edgar Lungu filed in his papers, and the Secretary General said the papers were valid. As of today, we've been told no one has challenged or no one has applied to be considered as challenging the incumbent President Edgar Lungu as a president of the party. And it is likely that he will go unopposed. The question that people are asking, is it now uniform that presidents of political parties will be going unopposed at the elective general conference?
First and foremost, permit me to congratulate President Edgar Lungu for successfully filing in his papers. Equally, permit me to congratulate Her Honor, the Vice President, for successfully filing in her papers. What that entails is that amongst the current serving members of the Central Committee and cabinet ministers and the youths that are the majority voters in this country have shown maximum support and confidence in President Lungu. So, I mean, when you know to say, I can't defeat this guy, what do you do? What can you do? There is no competition. If at all the senior members of the opposition political party that we have, the UPND, senior members of parliament in the UPND are joining the Patriotic Front at the 11th hour, what signal is that? It shows you the confidence that President Lungu has given to the Zambian people across political divide.
Is your party a democratic party? We saw people, telling us before this month that they are geared, they are resolved to challenge ECL at the convention. We did see Yossi, withdrawing his candidature, but one of those who had shown interest, like KBF, still insisted that I'm going to challenge ECL. Today, they are nowhere to be seen. Is it because PF don't want competition? They don't allow anyone to challenge the incumbent, and that is why you've seen these people developing cold feet?
Kelvin, do not mislead the viewers out there. If at all PF was not a democratic party, some of us would not have been aspiring as members of parliament, number one. Secondly, it was here at Muvi TV, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I was here, I said the issue of KBF, he's an expelled member of the Patriotic Front. Number two, for KBF, it has nothing to do about President Lungu, but an issue to say an Easterner cannot rule over a Bemba. And I said, I've got no apologies to make. So I do not understand which part of my answer then you did not understand. I was very explicit.
Yesterday, after President Edgar Lungu filed his nomination papers, we saw Lusaka Province Patriotic Front chairperson, Kennedy Kamba, saying, I don't want to see anyone challenging the incumbent, and I don't want to see any member escorting anyone who wants to challenge Edgar Lungu. Was this not a threat to say we don't allow? In a democratic party, should you warn people that if you have got plans of doing this, be warned, and never should you think of this?
Kelvin, Kennedy Kamba is my tribal cousin. Kennedy Kamba loves to joke. Kennedy Kamba is from winning an election at provincial level. What makes you think that he wouldn't want to see others compete? Kennedy Kamba is in office because of having undergone an election. Some people doubted the prowess of Kennedy Kamba. He proved it by winning at the convention. So when Kennedy says, I don't want people challenging President Lungu, literally, you might interpret it the way you think. But what Kennedy was saying, when I was standing as Lusaka Provincial Chairman, I told you, don't compete against me. You will lose. So what Kennedy Kamba is putting across is to say, gentlemen, you can stand against President Lungu, but you won't have the votes. You will lose. So you choose an embarrassment, or you choose to just say, let me fall back.
But that is not how he had put it.
I'm telling you because I know Kennedy. I know Kennedy. Do you want us to be interpreting things, applying the mischief rule, the golden rule, as if we're in the Concord? I know Kennedy. Kennedy was indirectly sending a message, and he was very diplomatic. It's not that he said, don't stand. No, he was saying, look, you embarrass yourselves. Because President Lungu has been endorsed by almost...
Don't you think that statement is what has made others not to file in? To say, Lusaka one has said, Lusaka one has warned us.
What's the difference between the provincial chairman in Lusaka and provincial chairman in Kasam? There's nothing like one, they're all ex officio. So don't start a question with a negativity. Kennedy was very clear. His communication skills, as at yesterday, were not very clear. There was too much ambiguity. So let's not choose to side with which opinion that citizens would fall on. For me, Kennedy was very diplomatic. And if Kennedy really wanted to deter people from filing in, I don't think he was going to be in office today. Because he's just from winning an election. If anything, he's the newest provincial chairman that we have in the party. Yeah.
We did also saw the chairperson of the Patriotic Front forgiving or lifting the suspensions, and those who are serving, suspensions say you've been forgiven, the suspensions have been lifted, and those that are eligible to be delegates will be able to vote. What do you make of this pronouncement that came from the chairperson of the party?
You see, those are the prerogatives of the national chairman. It's not my prerogative.
Is it in good faith?
Of course it is. Politics is a game of numbers. So why do you want to suspend people that have to vote and campaign? And it is a tradition in PF to fight 3 years before a general election. A year before an election, they're united like those bands that you call John Cena. Make no mistake.
In an event that these people, after the convention, they go back and become unruly, are we going to see them being suspended again, or what will become of them?
You don't abrogate the house rules. It's that simple. Every club has its own rules. So why do you want to bend the rules? Why?
We have seen people applying to be members in the Central Committee. And also, let's start on the youthful side. 75% of our population is made up of youths. And the youths within your party, this time around, they say we want to be part and parcel of the highest decision-making organ of the party. What do you think has prompted this? Is it a wake-up call, or youths in the Patriotic Front have been sleeping, and this is the only time that they have woke up from their slumber and they want to be part of the decision-making organ of the party? Or what is it that has triggered this move?
First and foremost, Calvin, I'll take you back to saying the PF is the most democratic party in the country as at now, where youths are freely applying for positions, willing to compete, and the leadership of the party has embraced that competition. Just that alone is competition, is democracy. We are not seeing that in these political parties that are minority, all right? Had we seen that happening in the UPND, we would have said we are headed for a political tsunami in this country. But there's no such competition, unfortunately for them that think they've got the numbers. And I was telling someone today to say, you see, genocide is as a result when the minority are ruling over the majority. Just the numbers of the youths that have applied for adoption or for positions at Central Committee level shows you how democratic the PF is. Of course, initially I had developed ideas to go for a position because that position is for young people in the party. But when I saw other young people on board like Phil Chikua that have no constituencies to attend to, I chose to withdraw. Because why should I compete with my fellow young people? Why? Of what benefit? Why should I be all over? Not a scatterbrain. Just that alone, tell me. I don't even want to cite FDD, Heritage Party, the new MMD. I'm citing the UPND. Have you seen the competition that is taking place in UPND as it is in PF? There is more competition in PF. Why?
I may wonder, why are you picking on the UPND? When there are youths in MTC, youths in New Hope, MMD.
No. All those political parties are an extension of the PF. I'll pick on the UPND because they've proven to be the most stubborn political entity in the history of this country.
What do you mean when you say they have proven to be stubborn? Stubborn in terms of what? Stubborn by offering checks and balances to the ruling party.
Tell me, what checks do they offer other than tribalism?
Oh, they have commented on shortages of fuel. They have commented on the issue of agriculture.
I commented on the shortages of fuel. I commented on the blackout.
They have commented on the issue of debt.
Does that make me UPND?
No, I'm saying them.
It's about
when you talk of
being a responsible citizen. When you are a responsible citizen, you can comment whenever the government goes wrong. Not only commenting when you talk of tribalism.
So, Mr. Zulu, tell me, what is tribal about debt? So if the UPND today stand and talk about the debt, if they talk about the economy, they talk about
Kelvin. I know most of you moderators are in the perpetual habit of siding with those that oppose the government.
No.
No, wait. It's good to listen. You don't cite any opposition political party in Zambia apart from the UPND. You don't cite Edith Nawakwi on pertinent issues. You don't cite Tilyanji Kaunda on pertinent issues. You only cite Hakainde Hichilema. And I want to deal with this notion once and for all. Look, the privilege I have is this. I've never been a councillor. I've never been an MP. And I've never been president. Hakainde has never been councillor, never been an MP, and never been a Republican president. But why do you want him to be given prominence over his fellow opposition leaders. It's your disease, you guys in the media fraternity. Yet, he runs a minority group like myself, who is seated here in the studio today. But what's the difference? What's the difference? Let's not be diplomatic when we're discussing national issues. I've criticized this government when they've gone wrong, and it's on record.
I want to understand.
What I'm trying to diffuse here is you guys that manage these programs from making us believe that without the UPND and their HH, then we are doomed as a people. This notion, even if I was to go on Hot FM, be it Radio Phoenix, let the people talk, we've got to kill this cancer that you guys are trying to bring.
Mr. Zulu, I still want to understand. I posed the question, why are you picking on the UPND? You said because they have proven to be stubborn.
Yes.
And I posed the question, tell me, where is the stubbornness?
Okay.
If they are offering
you
checks
did
and
not
balances,
give me.
Then you told me that what sort of checks and balances apart from tribalism? Then I posed the question. Tell me what is tribe about the issue of debt
just
or
pause,
the economy?
pause a little bit. I'll educate you where their stubbornness is. Do you know how vast Lusaka constituency is? Do you? Can you compare the vastness of Lusaka constituency to Lufanyama constituency? Yet MPs get same amounts in form of CDF. One MP spends 4 days to go around the constituency, spending more than 10,000 kwacha on fuel alone, and one MP spends 2 hours and the whole constituency is done. And they rejected a bill that was supposed to bring about delimitation. Do you think that is normal? Isn't that being stubborn for nothing? To you think that is normal behavior? Can you compare Lusaka constituency to Lufanyama? Or do you know which is the biggest constituency in the country? Or you just speak because Lusaka is social media and you want to raise your profile? Let's be realistic. In a normal society, you cannot have the same amount of CDF for Lusaka Central and Lufanyama. But who is causing all that? Come on, guys.
But we've heard...
Respond, is that normal?
We've heard from the current members of parliament and the past members of parliament, starting from the MMD, saying there are some constituencies which are very vast,
yes,
and we need delimitation.
Yes.
If successive governments didn't do that, if the very members of parliament, for example, for Lufanyama, is on record to say the CDF that we're getting is not enough because Lufanyama is vast.
I agree.
Why are you still putting a blame on them now when the PF are on record to have refused the issue of the constitutional making or refining our constitution when the PF was in opposition?
Kelvin, I'm at pains, to be very honest. This is not the kind of interview I would have loved to attend. It's good to look at our history.
Yes.
There was a time when CDF, money meant for CDF, used to go directly into an MP's account. Are you aware?
Yes.
You are aware?
Yes.
And what is the status now? Does it go into the personal account of the Member of Parliament, or it goes into the council account?
Yes, it goes into the council account.
So we are progressing as a country. One way we progress, then the other side we've got the UPND that shoot down that proposal. So how do you bring in the PF in things that happened previously before they formed government? The truth of the matter is the PF said, look, this side we've progressed. How are we failing to progress on the other hand? UPND chose to lock the MPs in toilets at Parliament building and Hakainde's residence in Nyukasama. Can we be serious once as a people? We can't be a country of jokers throughout. 5 years we're just joking. 5 years joking.
Let's go back to the issue of the youths. I know that you just digressed. Yes. I posed the question on the youths within the PF. who want to be members of the MCC,
Yes.
what is it that has triggered this movement?
Number one is that young people are sending a very strong message to the current crop of leaders that for so many years we've been told we are the future leaders of tomorrow. The future that we are referring to has come. We will no longer be future leaders. They prepared us, they taught us, and now we are saying, look, of course it's not that every young person that says, I've got to stand, should be allowed to stand. But it's a message being sent to say young people outside here are hungry to lead their own affairs. That's a message being sent. I'm speaking to a lot of my fellow young people, and I've said our time has just come, and you cannot kill an idea whose time has come. I'm convinced beyond all reasonable doubt that come 12th of August, 75% that will occupy Parliament building are young people. Beyond all reasonable doubt, it's young people.
Are you in this issue of youths realizing that their future is now and not the notion that they've been taught, say your future will come or your future leaders? Are you, in other words, suggesting that you want to retire old people?
Look, the old people that we cannot just get rid of, we still need them for counsel. No matter how much we are prepared to take charge of our own affairs, but we still need the council of elders. Like it or not, we still need a selected few to guide us.
When you say you need the selected few, are these people going to be offering counsel outside the MCC, or there are others that you've said, ladies and gentlemen, these, yes, they can remain in the MCC so that they can continue giving us counsel, or these, they should go outside or out of the bracket of MCC, but we'll be getting advice from them?
Look, when you want to seek advice, it also depends on you as an individual. I can choose to consult a senior cabinet minister for advice, and I can also choose to consult from a traditional ruler for advice. At the end of the day, seeking advice is also based on individualism. There are some people that they are Mr. Know-it-all. So, unfortunately, with democracy, we can have an overhaul of the Central Committee. But whether they all go, trust me, in one or the other, we'll find ourselves going knocking to them.
Let's talk about the people that have applied so far. You started by, congratulating His Excellency as well as our honor, the Vice President. But there are others that have applied to be members of the Central Committee. And some of these people that have applied to be members of the Central Committee have also applied in their various constituencies to stand as members of Parliament. When we saw the Secretary General, on behalf of the President, writing letters suspending or suspending, for lack of better term, other provincial chairmen or chairpersons who have applied to be considered as members of Parliament, to say, pave way on a temporal basis. What do you make of this, again, for lack of better term, inconsistent, where you've seen your colleagues have been told to pave way or to step aside, and then you have applied to be considered as a member of Parliament, but you go ahead and file or apply to be a member of the Central Committee? What do you make of this?
Look, there is no inconsistency there. A provincial chairman, under normal circumstances, is the father of that province politically. Council chairpersons, councillors, MPs are supervised by the same provincial chairman. Okay? Now, A provincial chairman is an ex officio member of the Central Committee.
Yes.
So fine. You find that a provincial chairman does not support certain sitting MPs in his province and declares to go for their very seats. And you have a situation where one is a cabinet minister reporting to the president of the republic. One is a provincial chair reporting to the president of the party. So who is causing confusion? One was appointed by the president, one was elected. There is a difference there. The elected one still wants to fight those appointed by the president. Confusion. What is the best thing to do? Remove the elected one so that he can gamble between winning an election at constituency level and appointed by the same president that he reports to as provincial chairman. So what our colleagues have done is they may to win both or lose both. Because what happens if the party does not adopt you? Do you go back?
And that is the question. To say if they won't be
adopted. It goes to individuals. Some individuals, they are preoccupied with having everything on their plate. Even when they know they can't eat, they'll just say, I'll eat. It's greediness. Some people are just greedy. You are the provincial chairman supervising all MPs. MPs come to you as a father figure. Then you also want to be the son. How? How can you be omnipresent? If you are provincial chairman, for example, Kelvin, you are in a constituency. How do you campaign for the president in that province? Because the provincial chairman should touch all the corners of the province. But because of your selfishness, you want to stand in one constituency and disadvantage the presidential vote. So those that were removed, it was done to protect the presidential vote. Because those acting as provincial chair will not be preoccupied with one constituency. They'll be all over. Then talking of members of parliament that have applied to stand as members of the Central Committee, there is no conflict of interest whatsoever. All right? Why? We are coming from a background where for the last 20 years, this is the real Central Committee election taking place. These guys that are outgoing have handled things at the most critical time.
When you say this is the real convention that is taking place, what do you mean? The Patriotic Front went for a convention.
When?
In 2015.
When
electing the president.
When the founding father passed on?
Yes.
That was a crisis. Do you think that was a normal arrangement? Wasn't that a crisis?
So, according
they
to
managed the crisis, and we should applaud them. Let's say thank you to them. That was a crisis. We should say thank you to all outgoing members of the Central Committee. We should applaud them. Thank you. They managed this country at a very critical moment. I cannot even condemn the current crop of the Central Committee, the outgoing. I can't.
So when you say there is nothing wrong with those serving ministers, where some of them have even applied to stand as members of parliament, and they have applied also to be members of the Central Committee, you don't find anything wrong, but you find everything wrong with a chairperson of a province
fighting with an MP. Yes, it's not normal. How? To you, it's normal. How? It's like I'm the CEO of the company. I want to be the general worker. How? That's what you are promoting here. Maybe if we gave you that example, it would make sense. You want the president to lower himself from being president to stand as the chairman elections. Are you sure?
So let's talk about the people that have applied so far. You don't see anything wrong. But
to you, okay, what wrong have you seen in that? Maybe you can guide me as well. What wrong is there in there? You want the president to drop, I want to stand in Lume's constituency. Are you sure? That's logic. The president should say, no, I'm not content with being president. I'm going to stand in Lume's constituency. To you, that is not.
Let's talk about the people that have applied.
Let's guide the listeners.
Let's talk about the people that have applied.
These questions you ask, people get emotionally charged out there. So it's important that we clarify
the president cannot lower himself.
Thank you. So why should the provincial chairman lower himself to be an MP? It doesn't make sense.
What is so good about being called a honorable or a member of parliament? Maybe you can help us, or you can help the people that are watching. You are saying a provincial chair cannot lower himself. But we've seen 6 of them were dropped, or 6 of them were told to step aside. Zambia has got 10 provinces. Out of the 10, 6 up to now are interested of being called a honorable or representing the people in their constituencies apart from the province. Maybe you can tell us, or you can guide us, what is so sweet, what is so good about one being called a honorable? Like you've put it, why should one lower himself or herself or demote himself to say, I just want to be in charge of a constituency instead of a province?
My brother Kelvin, we've got a lot of work to do in this country. You can be called honorable by going to school, not necessarily by being a member of parliament. I think we're getting to the most minimal levels of discussions. There are some people, we've heard rumors here, they went to schools with questionable characters and they were given doctorate degrees and they were being referred to as honorable, honorary doctorates. Even pastors are called honorable. Whether they're genuine or not, they've been called honorable before. The issue is not on the title. So we cannot reduce this conversation into a title of honorable. Some people won an election, but their behavior is not honorable. All right? So just like we've got diplomats, we call them His Excellency, Her Excellency. So let's not limit a discussion to that title. There are a lot of misconceptions, beliefs about going to parliament. If you look at the salary scale of a member of parliament, it's very minimal. It's because some people go there thinking there is a lot of de la rue when there is nothing. They forget to say, look, the main task there is to draft laws. If they don't bring about progressive laws, the country is affected. So what we are saying that are coming or incoming is that, look, I think most of our colleagues that we call Father Papa don't understand the task of the legislative organ. So we're going to correct that disease. Nothing about honorable. I don't even wish to be called honorable when I'm there. The way you see me is the way you treat me.
Are you trying to say you've been disappointed with the people that have represented constituencies before, or the people that have been part of the registrator?
I've been disappointed by plenty. That's not even a secret. You've got MPs posing for selfies at Mandayu. They've never seen Mandayu in their lifetime. And you expect me not to be disappointed? Are you sure?
What gives you the confidence that you and others, or other young people that have applied, are going to change things?
President Lungu is leading young people that are the most exposed in this country and most civilized. We are the most exposed generation. That you can't take away from us. We've seen it all, we've done it all. So we are content. Material does not move us.
What sort of change are you going to bring to Mandayu, apart from people posing for selfies like you've put it?
You think I'll go to Parliament and accept that vehicle for free as a loan at the expense of drilling boreholes in my constituency? if President Lungu moved a motion to do away with a sitting president from being given a retirement house, why should we entertain the Treasury to be paying 156 Land Cruisers at Toyota Zambi? Is that normal? Is that normal? These are some of the things those are archaic laws. We should do away with them. You go to Parliament in your Toyota Allion, you come out with it. If not, work hard and buy a better one. It's simple. Let's not even sugarcoat these things. Why is it that the ruling members of Parliament and those that are opposing agree when it comes to sharing vehicles? Or is it, what do you call them, gratuity? But they oppose progressive bills. Let's say no one gets a free vehicle from there. And how do you pay for insurance the whole year uniformly? This year you are paying 36,000. Next year the vehicle that is diminishing, you pay the same amount. And you think that is progressive. That's very retrogressive. So let's do away with that law.
In an event that some of your colleagues, like young people, don't make it to Parliament, and then we have this mixture, but a big number is that of the same members of Parliament who have failed you, who have failed the young people. How will business be conducted if you just try to project a mixture, but a large number or majority of members of Parliament are those that have disappointed you, and just a few of you are the ones that are coming to change things? How will Parliament be?
We'll still educate them. We'll make them understand the generational needs of our time. And I should not wish my daughter to walk to school as well. The sufferings that my father went through should not be transferred to me. But I should say my father suffered for me. And in his old age, let me work hard to make his old age lighter. You understand? Our job, our leaders should not be saying, we suffered for this party. I know there's one cabinet minister who likes saying, we suffered for this party. We never enjoyed what you guys are enjoying. But that's not being a parent. You labor for who? For your children.
So that person should not remind you of what they went through to build
You
this
can
party.
remind, but you cannot wish us to go through the same. Even the children of Israel suffered before they reached the land of Canaan. They passed through the desert. So maybe they were the children of Israel.
Let's move on. Young people have been, for a long time, we have heard even leaders of political parties calling on young people not to be used as tools of violence. When it is election time, we've been told that it is the young people that are always in the forefront, throwing stones, hacking each other. Young people also have been known to be people of confusion, that where young people are, whatever they do, a higher percentage will be full of confusion. Are we likely to see a change with this crop of young people? Or if not, what sort of message is it that is coming from a young person to a fellow young person who is still thinking backwards by being used as a tool of violence?
Kelvin, I've had a privilege to vote in general elections and by-elections since 2011. And then you colleagues from the media keep on saying young people. Okay. I'm going to cite an example with no apologies to make. If Muvi TV will be sued, I take responsibility. In the 2016 general election, I was voting from Lumezi for President Lungu. My fellow PF member, and get me right, my fellow PF member are not my fellow young man, went to campaign for Honorable Doras Lia in Petauke. His name is Maxwell Chongo. He was detained for violence. He couldn't even vote in the 2016 general election. So he's a young person. Between me and Max, you mix things. The old guys, you say they're young. We young people, we are young. So who is a violent person? Is it young people or the old? I pose that question to you. Max was detained for violence in Petauke. I was in Lumezi. We are in Eastern Province, by the way. So who is a younger person? I'm 33 years old. I'm not ashamed to say my age. I'm trying to protect my age mates and my fellow young people. So let us not misuse words to say young people. Even old people are saying they're young people now. Can we be explicit? Who is a younger person? Maybe educate me for the viewers. I'm a younger person. I've never been involved in political violence. Max is not a younger person. He's my fellow PF member. That I'm not refusing. But I want us to be very clear when you say young people. Which young people? I know of Ibrahim Mwamba from Wembeji. He's never been involved in political violence. Christopher Kangombe has never been involved in political violence. Binwa Mpundu is never involved in political violence. Chanot Dangwira is not involved in political violence. Chipasha is not involved in political violence. Mushota is not involved in political violence. So which young people are you talking about? Kelvin Kaunda is not involved in political violence. Kalarwe Mkosa, who is the MP for Chinsali Central, is not involved in violence. So which young people are you referring to? Tell me. Then I answer you. I don't want to leave viewers hungry. I can go on and on and on and on and on, mention all of them. So which younger people?
So young people are not violent.
Young people are not violent.
Let's go to something that you've written, and I've seen people commenting on our Facebook. You've written something, and I want you to agree if it is you who has written something. But this thing is attributed to you. My tribe is Zambia. I am not a tribalist.
Yeah.
Is it you that has written this?
Yes.
You are trying to explain something, and for lack of better term, maybe it is people that are not understanding or getting clearly what you have communicated. Tell us, your tribe is Zambia, you are not a tribalist. Where is this thing coming from?
You see, the constituency that I am vying for is a rural setup, all right? No internet, no network. It came to our attention whilst we were in the valleys of Lumezi that Honorable Jonas Shakafuswa had said it's too much of Zambians and Easterners and Zambians. Why don't we try others? All right? Now, I responded to Jonas's ugly statement to say, why should you condemn the Northerners and the Easterners? And the whole country was quiet. And the country is quiet. The only people that have been offended are those that are either believing in Hakainde's Tongaism or Bantu Botatwe. I said, in Lumezi we've got an old Malambo who has lived all his life there. All right? Of course, he's not Chewa, he's not Ngoni. He's Tonga. All his life, all his children grew up there. But he has never agreed to side with non-Tongas. Even political-wise, he decides to vote for his tribesmen. I said, then we have a disease. We have Hakainde Hichilema in Lusaka that will hire lawyers, Haimbe, Vincent Malambo, his chief whip, or his lawyer, most of his lawyers, are his tribesmen. Are you telling us this is the person that you think will represent the aspirations of all Zambians? Then, as usual, they dominate on social media. They chose to label me as a tribalist when I was just exposing how tribal the UPND are.
Mr. Zulu, there are people that have suggested that if one will begin to talk about tribalism, like the way you've put it, trying to explain, then it makes that person to be a tribalist.
No. Gentlemen.
Jonas Shakafusa, the one you've cited, is a member of the ruling party.
No, he's not. He's not. Jonas is not. His relatives are, I know, two.
He left after the 2016 election?
Has he ever been PF? For him, it's about Bantu Botatwe. And I want to be very explicit. If we are going, look, only that I'm being magnanimous in my approach. What I'm saying is provoking a lot of hearts out there because they don't want to be told the truth. President Lungu has been singing One Zambia, One Nation, One Zambia, One Nation. On the other side, it's the opposite. If you look at Hakainde's list of his target, should he form government, and God forbid, there is no Tonga on that list. There is no Tonga on that list. Do you know what Hakainde calls Easterners and Northerners behind closed doors? I'm privileged to that. Gentlemen, let's not play with governance system of this country. Whether Jonas Hakainde say no, that boy is preaching tribalism or not, let me tell you the ugly truth is that the minority cannot rule over the majority.
Do we have the minority in this country and the majority? And if at all we have the so-called minority in this country and we have the so-called majority in this country, who are these minorities and who are these majorities?
If I was working for Central Statistics Office, I would have given you data right now. If need be, give me tomorrow, I get you information on the population based on tribe. Then you will know who is the minority and who are the majority.
So according to you, it is only the majority that will rule and not the minority?
The minority should rule the majority for what?
So it should be the majority to rule over the majority and the minority?
Yes.
And we have them in Zambia. We have the majority, the so-called majority.
You don't know.
Tell me, like the way you've put it, say your tribe is Zambia. And I'm equally thinking that my tribe is Zambia, just like Munir Zulu has put it, say his tribe is Zambia. And I should
so
not talk
if
about
I
tribe.
if I say that tribe is a minority and that tribe is a majority, does that make me a tribalist? Or I'm just stating facts? I'm stating facts here. I'm not saying which tribe is better than the other. I'm saying we've got the majority and the minority. It's a fact. Are you telling me the Chewas are more than the Bembas? Or are you telling me the Luvalis are more than the Lozis? They are the majority and the minority.
And according to you, the minority should not rule over the majority?
That will cause problems.
What sort of problems will be there if the minority...
Let's cite Rwanda. What was the reason of the genocide in Rwanda? Why do you want to have the minority ruling over the majority? I'm not saying when you are minority, then you are bad.
You're not bad, but you can't just rule over the majority.
No, how? The problem is you want to take my statement to saying we've got the majority and the minority to mean the minority are bad. I'm not
No,
in
that is
context.
not what I said. That is not what I said. On the issue of ruling, you've put it clear here, Mr. Zulu, that the minority cannot rule over the majority.
You'll have confusion. Listen, let me...
And I'm taking you by your word. You
no,
said
Kelvin, let
the
me guide
minority
you.
cannot
I think
rule over
you
the
need
majority.
guidance. You need guidance.
I think you also need guidance.
Where?
Because when you say the minority cannot rule over the majority, and I want you to clarify, what do you mean by saying the minority cannot rule over the majority? It should be the majority to rule over the minority. Clarity. That is what I'm looking for, Mr. Zulu.
What clarity first? Because your thinking is that the minority are bad.
No, that is not my thinking.
It's not your thinking.
That is not my thinking.
Okay, very good. So we've moved from that one. I'll give you an example. If we have 10 fools in the house, and we're 12 of us, who is going to rule that house? Or maybe let me be a little bit diplomatic. We've got 10 psychiatric patients in the house and 2 non-psychiatric patients. Who will rule the house?
Well, it depends. I know that people are
No, come
responding
on.
to that. I know that
No,
people are
come on.
responding to
You're not
that.
being serious.
I know that people are responding. Just tell me.
Of
Just
course,
tell
the
nation.
10 will rule. 10 psychiatric patients will dominate.
Because only 2 are not
You
psychiatric.
think 2 can supersede, can take charge of the affairs of the 10? Are you sure? It's like in Zambia. One person says, I control 3 provinces. The other one says 7. Who dominates? Let's forget tribal. Let's go numbers. I say I control 7 provinces. Kelvin, you say you are controlling 3. So who should take charge of the affairs of the country?
Wow, numbers don't lie. The one with 7.
Thank you.
If I can answer
That's
that
it. You've helped me answer the question. The one with 7 takes charge.
Now,
But does that make the 3 bad?
well, I've told you that is not my thinking.
Thank you.
Now you've said the president is on record. He has continued to preach about one Zambia, one nation. He has continued to say, I am a president for all Zambians.
Yes.
We are one. And you've said your tribe is Zambia. You're not a tribalist. Someone who is watching and listening, what is it that we have to do as a nation and also as young people in order for us to move away from the issue of looking at tribe or pointing at people to say these are the minorities? What is it that we need to do as a nation in order for us to look at you as Mr. Zulu and I say, this is my brother. You look at someone from Southern, you say, oh, this one is my brother. What is it that we need to do, if at all there is something that we need to do in order for us to cure this cancer?
You see, this cancer will not be cured by the current crop of politicians that we have. The fact that on ZNBC you have 7 local languages.
They are called the major.
And others. So you are agreeing with me on languages.
No, I agree with what they are called. They are called 7 major.
And others are called
languages.
what? The minority languages, not so. They're not major. And they dominate. So is the issue with leadership. Why not do away with this nonsense of saying 7 local languages? We go like Tanzania, we have 1 language as a country, Swahili. So long we are divided by this rubbish called 7 major local languages, and others will feel inferior. We are not going nowhere. Let's not pretend.
When you say this will not change with the current crop of leaders, when are we going to see a new crop of leaders who are going to change or cure this cancer?
Starting from 2021 general election, a lot of young people are coming that have got progressive ideas that are going to bring on board a lot of solutions to the many diseases that we've suffered for the last 50 years. We need to have 1 language that will be accepted by all.
Is this something that you want to, or you are planning to introduce in Parliament? When you become member of Parliament, that you should start?
We are still consulting. But that is the beginning of the solution. So long we still have 7 major languages, others are less languages than others, the issue of tribalism will continue to be a song for years to come.
Is there anything bad with the issue of majority and minority?
Kelvin, I'm from telling you to say the minority cannot rule the majority. Just like in languages, you've agreed. You've even said major.
Wow.
So you think those ones with small languages can come and rule over those with 7 major? It's a problem. Let's find a solution to that.
And the solution is to come up with one?
Yes.
In Zambia?
In Zambia.
You see that to be feasible?
Why not? Why not?
As we are winding down, Mr. Zulu, the conference is starting on Saturday and Sunday, and there are people that have applied so far. For lack of better term, are you comfortable with everyone that has applied? And if at all, what will be your message to the delegates that will be choosing these leaders? Should they elect the people, everyone that has applied, they are good people to propel the Patriotic Front to another level? Or there are others that you feel, but these, even if they have applied, I think...
You see, to the delegates and to the contestants, they have made individual decisions to compete. Competition is healthy, but you don't go in a competition with one mission. It's possible to win and it's possible to lose. Some will emerge victorious, some not. But those that are going to lose should be magnanimous enough to congratulate the winner. And those that would not make it should draw lessons from this conference. But everyone is doing it for the love of the party. It's not about personal aspirations. Those aspirations of the party to meet the constitutional requirement of the land. Let it not divide us. It should be about, I'll try next time. Others will be doing this election for the last time. I've spoken to a lot of members. They've said, look, after this election, I'll be going to the farm. We'll be handing over. So, especially to my fellow young people, let's not lose hope. We have sent a good message, a message that even the leaders know to say there is future in the party. That's the most important thing. Those that will be handing over, even the president said it yesterday, will be handing over in 2026. They'll be handing over to a crop of young people that they have groomed and will attest a lot of time on the political scene. So it's not an election that should make people lose hope. We've got a bigger battle in August, and that's where our energies should be directed at.
Mr. Zulu, thank you so much for making an appearance on The Fairness, and wishing you all the best as you continue with your campaigns in Lumezi, as well as you continue to garner support and votes for His Excellency President Edgar Lungu in the eastern part of this country.
It's been a pleasure.
My guest has been Munir Zulu, who is an aspiring candidate for Lumezi constituency, one of the constituencies in the eastern province of this country. We've been talking about matters involving the youths and also national matters, tribalism. You've heard it for yourself. It is up to you to make your own judgment. My name is Kelvin Tabula, Chief Focal, on behalf of Munir Zulu and Mavuto Pire, who is the producer and the director of the program. Until next time, good night.
Great.